another deck profile, and today I'm going to be showing you the Agnister deck profile that I've been showing off in the podcast and been running a lot recently. It's a really good deck overall, very consistent, can run a massive hand trap engine, which is really good overall, especially combating today's metagame. Overall, it's a really fun deck. I would highly recommend it. It has a bunch of one-card starters. It has a really good amount of burn damage. But let's go ahead and show you off what the deck consists of. Run triple copies of our Achichi Agnister. When this card is no special summon, you can add level 4 lower Agnister monster from your deck to your hand, and then during the damage step, when your Cyber's monster battles opponent's monster, you can destroy your monster. The second effect doesn't have too much use except against with one of our monsters, which has its own effect when it's destroyed by a card effect. But the first effect is our essential combo starter. You always want this in your hand. Once it's in your hand, you have a full board. It's a really good card. You're wanting 3 of it. And paired with it, we run triple copies of our Picari Agnister. When this card is normal special summon, you can add an AI spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And its second effect goes into the XCs really easily as long as you control another monster. As you can target an Agnister monster you control, it becomes level 4, going into the Light Dragon, which is a really good XCs monster. But we'll get into that soon. Rerun triple copies of Doyon Agnister, which when this card is normal special summon, you get add a Agnister monster from your graveyard to your hand, and when it's sent to the graveyard for link material, you get to add an AI spell trap from your deck to your hand. From your graveyard to your hand. Really good overall. Some people run it at 2. I like it at 3, mostly because I like to have at least one extra extender in my hand, and Doyon's one of the best extenders we have. So overall, it's a really good card. I suggest 3, but you can easily run 2. Run double copies of Bururu Agnister. This is our tuner. When this card is normal special summon, you can send an Agnister monster from your deck to the graveyard. Really good for getting our negate ready with the arrival Agnister. And its second effect is when it's used as sync control for a Cyber's monster, you can target one of the materials that was used for that summon, except for Bururu Agnister, and special summon it. So it's really good for recurring your materials and getting more monsters on the field. Overall, one of the good cards. You don't want too many of it though in your hand. I have 2, but you can put it down to 1. 1 copy of Hiyari, Damari, and Gachiri Agnister. Hiyari is just a basic extender. As long as we control an Agnister monster, we can special summon it. And if you're running the ritual, you can use its effect to tribute a Agnister to search for the ritual monster. And if you tribute a link, you can get the ritual spell. I don't like running the ritual. I feel like it's a brick overall, but it's up to you. Damari is a brick in the hand. He's mostly just going to be sent to the graveyard solely so we can use it to negate when we have a rival Agnister on the field. And the Gachiri is a really good extender. When it's on the field, it protects all your Cyber's monsters by card effect once. You can special summon it just by targeting a Cyber's monster you control and negating its effects, and then bam, it's on the field now. And when it's sent to the graveyard, by any means, even if it's just material, you can target one monster you control until the end of your opponent's turn. It's unaffected by all card effects. This is paired with it on top of a 3000 body. So it can be a really good shield, while also being able to protect your other monsters. Next up, you have our spells. Already going to start off with running 1 AI land. Some people run 2, and it's paired with 1 card that is, if you have AI land in your hand and on the field, you put the AI land from your hand to the deck, then draw, I think it was 3 cards, says on the card text. Overall, I don't like running it at more than 1, but I can understand if you put it at 2 and then run the other spell. We have triple Iroh Born, which is going to get replaced soon when one of the newer sets come out, as it has another Ignis or Revival spell, which is called Fighting Spirit. I'm putting 2 of the Fighting Spirit in for Auto Reborn, solely because Fighting Spirit is really good, but Auto Reborn overall is not a bad card. It's a quick effect, a quick play spell to revive your Agnister monster from your graveyard, and when your Cyber's monster battles an opponent's monster, you can banish this and 1 card from your hand, then target one of your AI spell traps that is banished or in the graveyard except for Reborn and add it to your hand. So it's a really good way to recur some of your other spells. I plan to use it with Fighting Spirit. We run, since it's a Cyber's deck, triple Signet Mining. This doesn't need much explaining. It's a Cyber's deck. Signet Mining is a go-to. Double TAI Strike. Some people may not actually run this. I like to run it solely because it allows Fire Phoenix Agnister to have a really good amount of burn damage onto your opponent, and it's a really good way to finish up, assuming that you're locked away from, let's say, special summoning or you can't really make a board, so you just got to quickly grab Dire Strike, deal the amount of damage you need, and then call it a game. Then obviously, for our last of our spells, triple I Meet You. This is one of the new cards we got from Lightning Overdrive. You can reveal a Cyber's monster with 2300 from your hand or extra deck. So Damari can be used here, but I mean, when you can do it from your extra deck, it's not really needed. And when you reveal a monster with 2300 attack, you can add from your deck to your hand one Agnestor monster that has the same attribute. So if I reveal Dark, I can add Doyon. If I reveal Fire Phoenix, I add Chi-Chi, and if I reveal Light Dragon, I add Bakari. Just like a few examples. But if I fail a special on the monster that I revealed, I'll take 2300 damage, which isn't so bad. It's not bad at all. And for the last part, we run our interruptions / hand traps. So I run triple Lance, and this is solely just to stop Tri Brigade. I also found slight use against it in Rogue, where I would come up against Grand Maju and other decks similar like that. Plus, it's a good way to where if you know your opponent's running like Demise and Extravagance, it's a really good way to slow them down. Double Nibiru with one Ash. I'm trying to get to a third Nibiru, but for the meantime, I have one Ash in here. You can run Ash over Nibiru. I like to run Nibiru over it solely because we could just play through Nibiru, and if we make our board, we don't care if we Nibiru ourselves. Our Arrival is immune to it, so it's just an easy way to get over it. If your opponent can't get rid of the token and keep playing off, just use Rival's effect, destroy the token, make like a Link Spider, and then there you go, you have 8,000 per game. Triple Solemn Judgment. I really like this card. I really like it. It's a really good interruption. I would highly recommend it to other people. There's so many decks that really just can't play with it. For example, one time I went against a Dragon Link player. I had all 3 Judgment in hand. I said all 3. And whenever the person went Romulus and then LP Pisty. This was before LP got banned. And I negated the LP and Pisty summons. Essentially at that point they couldn't really do much. And they tried summoning I think they were trying to do Red MD, and I just negated Red MD as well. It was a good time. Double Skullmeister, just a really good card overall. It's not once per turn on its effects, so if you're going against Grave Reliant decks, this thing can stop it pretty quickly. This paired with one Call by the Grave. I don't like being ashed, so this is my one way around it. I hope it comes back at 3, because if so, I'm putting Call by at 3. And then double Ghost Ogre. Again, this was another way to get around Dragon Link, but it's a really good hand trap overall. I would highly recommend running it, but that's just my personal choice. And I went through all of that. Let's go to our extra deck. For XCs, this is the smallest one we have. One copy of Light Dragon. Probably one of the best XCs monsters I've seen in a long while. It takes 2 level 4s, and if a monsters you control will be destroyed by card effect, you can detach material from this card instead. That's not once per turn. And then it has 2 effects on top of this. You can detach 1 material from this card and destroy face-up monsters, face-up monsters from controls up to the number of Agnestor monsters you control. So really good for running for Agnestors. If not, it's a 1-card removal, so it's But the second effect's really good. You have to be running links, but whenever your Cyber's monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, special summon 1 link monster from your graveyard. So essentially, if you're running Cybers and you can make rank 4 XCs, I highly recommend you run Light Dragon. It's a really good way to recur your materials, really good way to protect your monsters, and it could be at very least a 1-card removal. For Synchros, Wind Pegasus, and Cyber's Quantum Dragon. Wind Pegasus, I just kind of have it in here in case I'm running against decks that are spell and trap heavy, albeit if it's a Mystic Mind deck, can't really get around that too much, but overall, Wind Pegasus is essentially, it could be our Harpy's Feather Duster, and assuming that we have the right amount of Ignisters. Cyber's Quantum is a really good way for our combos because it ends with this and Arrival, and it forces them to attack the Quantum and target the Quantum with card effects. On top of this, as a built-in Prohibit Snake-like effect, where if your opponent monster battles Quantum, I bounce your monster to your hand, and I can attack again in a row. So, on offensive, really good overall ability. On defensive, it's a really good way to protect. For the Link ones, 2 copies of Dark Infant and 1 Link Spider. The Link Spider is solely just in case our opponent is running the Nibiru. We can somewhat play through it, assuming they play it at the wrong time. However, in most cases, it's not going to happen too often, but it's also kind of used just in case we can Nibiru our opponent. And so we would just destroy their token, make the Link Spider, and then just attack your game with the Arrival, Nibiru, and Link Spider. Dark Infant is our combo starter. It's also our combo ender. It makes the Arrival, it makes us get into our big boards. Really good card, searches for our field spell. I mean, what more can I say? It's a really good card, and I'm very happy it got printed. For our Link 2s, we have 1 copy of Update Jammer, 1 Splash Mage, and 1 Wicked. Update Jammer is just in case I can go into the Transcoded Decay, but I can't go into my other combos. Kind of just a way to end it, assuming that the worst case situation happens. Splash Mage and Cyber's Wicked are our extenders during our combos. Wicked will search out Baru, assuming I don't have it, and Splash Mage is just going to help us get into Dark Templar while also being able to make our big boards. For the Link 3s, we have 1 Fire Phoenix, 1 Transcode Talker, and 1 Dark Templar. Dark Templar will get us into essentially our end board. You always go in Dark Templar, that's how you just get into the Arrival, you get into the Quantum Dragon. Fire Phoenix is a really good burn card. Assuming you have Tie Strike and your opponent has a 4k beater, you win the game with that. Fire Phoenix, whenever it attacks, quick effect, you deal damage equal to Fire Phoenix attack, but your opponent doesn't take any battle damage that turn. So you would attack, Fire Phoenix Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Tie Strike. Tie Strike would make Fire Phoenix 4,000 attack. Your Fire Phoenix will deal 4,000 damage, and your opponent's monster will be destroyed by the battle. Now, Tie Strike's effect in the graveyard will trigger, and your opponent would take damage equal to their monster's original attack, which was 4,000. So, that's essentially just 8k burn. Then, for our bosses, we have 1 Aphromax, 1 Dark Fluid, and 1 our copy of the Arrival Agnister. You can end on really any of these and be fine. As long as you have your Synchro and Xyz in the graveyard, Dark Fluid will have, I think it's 8,000 total damage and 2 counters to which you can remove to negate monster effects. Aphromax is a really good boss monster overall. Would highly recommend running him. And if you have Quantum on the field, your opponent can't attack in general. They're kind of locked into not being able to attack. And Arrival is an unaffected, at very minimum, 4,000 beat stick. Not a lot of decks can get past that unless they're running a Kaiju. With that being said, let's go off and let's show off some of the combos. Here we go. We're going to get started with our combos today. We're going to go ahead and show you guys what happens if we only start with an Achichi. First, normal summon it, and we're going to activate its effect to search out for our Bakari Agnister. Once we get our Bakari, we're going to link away our Achichi and special summon our Dark Infant. With Dark Infant, we'll use its effect. We'll search for our AI land. Then, using the effect of our AI land, we'll special summon the Bakari that's in our hand, activate its effect, and we are going to grab an I Meet You. We'll activate I Meet You to reveal our Dark Templar Agnister. Once that is revealed, we could add a Doyon Agnister to from our deck to our hand. There we go. We'll then link these 2 away for Cyber's Wicked. Using the effect of our AI land again, because we haven't special summoned Dark, we'll get our Doyon, Chainlink 1, Doyon, Chainlink 2, Wicked. Wicked will banish the Dark Infant that's in our graveyard. We'll add back the Achichi Agnister, since we haven't special summoned it with AI land yet. Oh no, that's Doyon's effect, my bad. Wicked will get us the Baru once we banish Dark Infant. So, now that we got our Baru and Achichi, we will link these 2 away for our copy of Splash Mage. Now that we have that, we'll use AI Land's effect, special summon Baru, and we'll use its effect to send the Damari from our deck to the graveyard. So now when we make Arrival, we'll have a negate ready. We'll use Splash Mage's effect. We'll just revive the Damari, solely because it's already here. We'll link these away, and we'll finally make our copy of Dark Templar. Next, we'll use AI Land effect. Since we never special summon Achichi using AI Land, we'll special summon under Dark Templar's Arrow, but instead of using Dark Templar's effect, we'll link away our Achichi for our copy of Dark Infant. And the reason we're going to do this is because now we could use Dark Templar's effect and then chain with Dark Infant's effect. Dark Infant will move itself over. It'll become a different attribute, so we'll just say that it's going to become Divine. Now we get to special summon our Achichi, Bertaru, and we'll special summon Bakari Agnister. Now with this, you're going to want to use the Bakari and Bururu for the Synchro Summon of Cyber's Quantum Dragon. And now since Bururu was used as sync material, you get to revive the Bakari, since it was used as material as well. Then using these 4, you'll make the copy of Arrival Cyber's Adagnister. With this, your opponent cannot attack your Arrival. They must attack the Cyber's Quantum. They must also target Quantum with card effects. Arrival has 4,000 attack, unaffected by all card effects, and you have a quick effect, Banish to negate any one card on the field. Really good overall, and that was with only just 1 card. We still have the other 4 in our hand, which could be more extenders, they could be starters, they could even be hand traps or negates, whatever you need. But that is the first combo. Let's go ahead and get to our second combo, which is starting with Bakari. Here we go. This time we're going to show off what happens when we start with only Bakari in our hand. It's not as great of a combo. We'll take a little bit of damage with it, but it still ends on the same board. Normal Summon Bakari activates effect, and we'll add an I Meet You from our deck to our hand. We will then link it away for our copy of Dark Infant. Using its effect, we'll grab an AI land. Now we're going to use the I Meet You, and we're going to reveal our copy of our Fire Phoenix Adagnister. Now since we revealed it, we get to add an Achichi from our deck to our hand. We'll go AI land, make sure it's on here, yep, there we go. We'll special summon the Achichi and use its effect to grab a Doyon Adagnister. And from here you can kind of see where we'll go into essentially what we did last time, go into a Wicked, Doyon. No, we'll banish the Dark Infant to get a Brudaroo, and Doyon will this time grab Bakari since Bakari was not special summoned off an AI land. Now that we did this, go into our Splash Mage, special summon the Brudaroo, sending Damari to a grave, special summon Damari. You get the process. It's essentially the same thing as last time, except now we are going with Bakari instead. However, when we end on our board, we never special summoned the Fire Phoenix, so we will end up taking 2,300 damage compared to with Achichi where we just took none. Achichi is our better starter in the very end. However, using either or, you can end on the same board. As you kind of see with that, me just kind of showing her, I didn't really explain it, but it's the same process in the very end of the day. You're going through, you want to essentially have Splash Mage with Brudaroo in hand and a target in the graveyard while having another Adagnister in your hand to kind of extend outward. But let's now show you one of the 2-card combos that I kind of found, and it's kind of interesting. It's with Doyon and Brudaroo. And the last combo we have with you today, Doyon and Brudaroo with 3 other bricks. So what do we do here? First off, we can normal summon our Brudaroo and activate its effect. We're going to send our Achichi to the graveyard. Then we will link the Brudaroo away for a copy of Dark Infant, which will get us our AI land. Using AI land's effect, special summon our Doyon. Doyon will then return the Achichi to our hand. Using Dark Infant and Doyon, we'll go on a Wicked. AI land will special summon the Achichi. You don't technically need to get another copy of Brudaroo from Wicked, but you can. That Achichi will grab us a Bakari. Then, using these 2, we can go directly into our Splash Mage. Bakari will get special summoned using AI land. This time we're going to want to get an Idle Reborn, since we don't need to search out for anything else. You could just go ahead and grab Idle Reborn, you can grab Tie Strike. I prefer the Reborn. I find it a little bit better overall. Then using Splash Mage, go ahead and you can just revive back your Achichi. Using these 2, or these 3, my bad. Dark Templar, special summon Brew off of AI land, material for the Dark Infant. Dark Infant effect after you special summon it with the others. Brudaroo, Achichi, and Bakari, which as we already know now ends with our usual board. However, one other board you can end on, and I wanted to show you guys, instead of reviving the Achichi, we're going to go ahead and revive back our Doyon Adagnister. So what you can do instead of reviving and going into Arrival if you want, if you end with something like this and you can't get the negate out, which is kind of typical, you can go ahead and use Brudaroo with either Doyon or Bakari, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and make your Cyber's Quantum Dragon, which is right over here. Then when it's revived, whichever one you used, Xyz into Light Dragon, and using your Dark Event and your Dark Templar, go ahead and make an Avermax. And now with this board, you have card effect protection for all of your monsters. Your opponent cannot attack, and they can only target. Let me think. Sure. Yeah, no, they can only target the Quantum Dragon. They already can't target Avermax off Avermax effect, but it's no big deal. And you have an Auto Reborn ready for whenever you need to start up again. It's a really good M board. We don't have the negate, which is unfortunate. However, it's something you can go into as another side option. But go ahead and comment down below what you guys see today. Comment what you want to see next. You guys have a great day. Peace out.